It's an honor to stand before you today to speak on a topic that resonates deeply within the human soul. Don't forget the rules of God in the pursuit of happiness. True happiness is rooted in faith, a concept that transcends fleeting pleasures and temporary satisfaction. Faith provides a profound sense of peace and purpose that cannot be found in material pursuits alone. In the depths of the human spirit lies a yearning for something greater than what the world can offer, a longing for a connection with the divine. This connection, nurtured through faith, becomes the foundation upon which true happiness is built. Faith is not merely a belief in a higher power, it is an active trust in God's plan for our lives. This trust allows us to release the burden of control, understanding that there is a divine purpose unfolding even in situations we do not fully comprehend. In times of uncertainty or hardship, faith becomes the anchor that steadies us. It reminds us that we are not alone, that there is a Creator who is intricately involved in our lives and who works all things for good. This assurance brings a peace that the world cannot give, a peace that sustains us through trials and uplifts us in moments of despair. The pursuit of happiness often leads individuals to chase after material possessions, achievements, or social status, believing these will provide fulfillment. While these things can bring momentary satisfaction, they ultimately fall short of addressing the deeper needs of the soul. Wealth can be lost, accomplishments can fade, and status can shift with time, leaving a sense of emptiness when these external factors are relied upon for happiness. Faith, on the other hand, provides a constant and unchanging source of joy. It is not dependent on circumstances or external validation, but flows from a deep-seated relationship with God. Living a life rooted in faith shifts our perspective. Instead of viewing challenges as insurmountable obstacles, we begin to see them as opportunities for growth and refinement. Faith teaches us that every trial has a purpose, every setback a lesson, and every closed door a redirection to something greater. This understanding fosters resilience and hope, two essential ingredients for lasting happiness. When we trust that God's plan is for our ultimate good, we can face life's uncertainties with confidence and a sense of inner calm. Faith also redefines our understanding of success and happiness. The world often measures success by how much we accumulate, how far we climb, or how many people admire us. But faith invites us to consider a different metric: how aligned our lives are with God's will. True success is found in living a life of integrity, love, and purpose. It is about fulfilling the unique calling God has placed on our lives and using our gifts to make a positive impact on others. This alignment with divine purpose brings a profound sense of fulfillment that material achievements cannot replicate. Furthermore, faith deepens our capacity for gratitude. When we acknowledge God as the source of every blessing, big or small, we develop an attitude of thankfulness that enriches our lives. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already have, fostering contentment and joy. It helps us see the beauty in the ordinary and appreciate the gifts that come with each day. This gratitude, rooted in faith, is a powerful antidote to the dissatisfaction and comparison that often steal happiness in today's world. One of the most transformative aspects of faith is its ability to foster meaningful relationships. When we live by faith, we are called to love others as God loves us, with kindness, patience, and forgiveness. These qualities strengthen our connections with those around us, creating relationships that are not only fulfilling but also reflective of God's love. Faith reminds us that we are part of a greater community, bound together by shared humanity and a collective purpose. This sense of belonging contributes significantly to our overall happiness and well-being. Faith also encourages us to live with humility and a servant's heart. Instead of seeking to elevate ourselves, we find joy in lifting others up. Acts of service inspired by faith bring a unique kind of happiness, a joy that comes from making a difference in someone else's life. Whether it is offering a helping hand, sharing a kind word, or simply being present for someone in need, these acts of love and compassion bring us closer to God and to the essence of true happiness. In essence, faith is the compass that guides us toward a life of joy, purpose, and peace. It anchors us in the truth that our value is not determined by worldly standards, but by our relationship with the Creator. It empowers us to navigate life's challenges with hope and resilience, knowing that we are deeply loved and cared for by a God who desires our ultimate good. By rooting our happiness in faith, we discover a wellspring of joy that sustains us through every season of life and connects us to the eternal source of all that is good. God's principles are the foundation of a joyful and meaningful life. They are not arbitrary rules imposed to limit freedom, but are instead divine guidelines designed to help us navigate life with purpose and peace. These principles, rooted in love, compassion, forgiveness, integrity, and humility, offer a pathway to lasting happiness that transcends the temporary pleasures of the world. When we align our lives with these teachings, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment and harmony that material pursuits alone cannot provide. One of the central tenets of God's principles is love. Love is the essence of God's nature and the foundation of all His commandments. In loving God and loving others, we find the key to true joy. This love is not merely an emotion, but an active choice to prioritize kindness, empathy, and selflessness in our relationships. By following the principle of love, we shift our focus from self-centered desires to the well-being of those around us. This shift not only enriches our relationships, but also fosters a sense of purpose and connection that is essential for happiness. When we give and receive love freely, we experience the kind of joy that cannot be manufactured or bought. It is a joy that emanates from the very core of our being. Another vital principle is forgiveness. God's teachings emphasize the importance of letting go of resentment and offering grace to those who have wronged us. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for liberation. It frees us from the chains of anger and bitterness that can weigh down our spirits. When we forgive, we create space in our hearts for peace and healing. This act of grace mirrors God's own forgiveness toward us and brings us closer to His heart. In extending forgiveness, we not only heal relationships, but also find freedom from the emotional burden that unforgiveness carries. This freedom is a vital component of true happiness, as it allows us to move forward unencumbered by the past. Integrity is another cornerstone of God's principles, and it plays a critical role in fostering happiness. Living with integrity means aligning our actions with our values and staying true to the teachings of God, even when it is difficult. It involves being honest, trustworthy, and fair in all our dealings. When we live with integrity, we experience a sense of inner peace that comes from knowing we are walking in alignment with divine truth. This peace is a source of profound joy because it frees us from the guilt and anxiety that often accompany dishonesty or unethical behavior. Moreover, a life of integrity earns the respect and trust of others, strengthening our relationships and further enhancing our happiness. Humility is another principle that contributes to a joyful life. In a world that often glorifies self-promotion and pride, humility teaches us to recognize our dependence on God and to value others above ourselves. Humility allows us to approach life with gratitude, acknowledging that every blessing is a gift from God. It also helps us to build meaningful relationships as it fosters a spirit of cooperation and mutual respect. By embracing humility, we learn to let go of ego-driven pursuits and find joy in serving others and glorifying God. Compassion is yet another divine principle that fosters happiness. When we open our hearts to the needs of others and respond with kindness and generosity, we not only make a difference in their lives, but also experience a deep sense of fulfillment. Acts of compassion remind us of our shared humanity and the interconnectedness of all people. They also reflect God's love for us as we become His hands and feet in the world. Whether it is through small gestures of kindness or significant acts of service, living compassionately brings us closer to the heart of God and fills our lives with joy. God's principles also teach us to live with gratitude and contentment. In a culture that often encourages constant striving and dissatisfaction, these principles remind us to appreciate the blessings we already have. Contentment is not about settling for less, but about finding joy in the present moment and trusting in God's provision. Gratitude shifts our perspective, helping us to focus on what is good and beautiful in our lives rather than what is lacking. This mindset of thankfulness is a powerful antidote to the stress and dissatisfaction that often accompany worldly pursuits of happiness. Finally, God's principles encourage us to seek a relationship with Him above all else. When we prioritize our connection with God, everything else falls into place. This relationship provides a sense of purpose and belonging that is unmatched by anything the world can offer. It anchors us in a love that is eternal and unconditional, giving us the strength and confidence to face life's challenges with hope and resilience. In aligning our lives with God's principles, we discover a source of happiness that is deep, enduring, and transformative. These principles are not burdens to bear, but gifts to embrace, guiding us toward a life that reflects the joy, peace, and love of God Himself. By living according to these divine teachings, we not only honor God, but also create a life of meaning, connection, and true happiness. Love and compassion are at the heart of a meaningful and joyful life, and they are foundational to God's teachings. These principles are not simply ideals to strive for, but practical ways of living that transform our relationships, our communities, and ourselves. When we embrace love and compassion as central to our lives, we unlock a pathway to happiness that is both deep and enduring, rooted in God's design for humanity. To love God and others is the greatest commandment. This love is not a fleeting emotion or superficial feeling, but a deliberate choice to prioritize the well-being of others and to reflect God's love in our actions. God's love for us is unconditional, sacrificial, and steadfast, providing the ultimate example of how we should love one another. By modeling our relationships on this divine love, we create a bond that transcends the material and the temporary. This love binds us to others in a way that fosters connection, understanding, and mutual respect. In this connection lies a profound source of happiness, as we are designed to thrive in relationships that reflect God's love. Compassion flows naturally from love. It is the ability to feel deeply for the struggles of others and to take action to alleviate their pain. Compassion is more than sympathy, it is empathy in action, a willingness to share in another's burdens and offer tangible support. This principle is evident in the life of Jesus, who showed compassion to the marginalized, healed the sick, and uplifted the downtrodden. His example teaches us that compassion is not about pity, but about solidarity, standing alongside others in their times of need and offering hope and help. When we practice love and compassion, we align ourselves with God's character and purpose. These principles are transformative, not only for those who receive them, but also for those who give them. Acts of love and compassion bring a unique sense of fulfillment and joy. They remind us that our lives have meaning and that we are capable of making a positive difference in the world. This sense of purpose contributes significantly to our overall happiness, as it connects us to something greater than ourselves. Love and compassion also serve as antidotes to the isolation and loneliness that many people experience. In today's fast-paced, individualistic society, it is easy to feel disconnected from others. However, when we intentionally reach out in love and compassion, we build bridges that connect us to others in meaningful ways. These connections foster a sense of belonging and community, which are essential for emotional and spiritual well-being. Knowing that we are loved and that we have the capacity to love in return is one of the most profound sources of happiness. Moreover, love and compassion create a ripple effect that extends far beyond the immediate recipient of our actions. When we act with kindness and empathy, we inspire others to do the same, creating a chain reaction of goodwill. This ripple effect has the power to transform families, communities, and even societies. It is a reflection of God's kingdom on earth, where love and compassion are the driving forces behind every action. Participating in this divine mission brings a joy that is both personal and collective, as we see the positive impact of our choices on the world around us. Practicing love and compassion also requires humility and a willingness to set aside our own desires for the sake of others. This selflessness is not a loss, but a gain, as it frees us from the constraints of selfishness and opens us to the joy of giving. Jesus taught that it is more blessed to give than to receive, and this truth becomes evident when we experience the happiness that comes from helping others. Whether it is through small acts of kindness or significant sacrifices, giving of ourselves in love and compassion enriches our lives in ways that material possessions or personal achievements cannot. God's principles of love and compassion also extend to how we view ourselves. Loving others begins with understanding that we are loved by God and that we are called to love ourselves as His creation. This self-love is not about arrogance or self-centeredness, but about recognizing our worth in God's eyes and treating ourselves with the same kindness and care that we offer to others. When we accept God's love for us and reflect that love inwardly, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and happiness that radiates outward. Another vital aspect of love and compassion is forgiveness. Loving others means being willing to forgive their mistakes and shortcomings, just as God forgives ours. Forgiveness is an act of love that restores relationships and brings healing to our hearts. It frees us from the burden of anger and resentment, allowing us to move forward in peace. Compassion also plays a role in forgiveness as it helps us to empathize with others and understand their struggles and intentions. Together, love and compassion enable us to build stronger, more harmonious relationships, which are a key source of happiness in life. Finally, love and compassion are not limited to personal relationships, but extend to how we interact with the world at large. They call us to care for the poor, advocate for justice, and steward God's creation. These acts of service and responsibility reflect God's love for the world and remind us of our interconnectedness with all of creation. In fulfilling these roles, we experience the joy that comes from living out our faith in tangible, impactful ways. By centering our lives on love and compassion, we align ourselves with God's purpose and experience a joy that is both profound and enduring. These principles are not only pathways to personal happiness, but also the means by which we contribute to the flourishing of others and the glory of God. In embracing love and compassion, we find the true essence of a joyful, meaningful life. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of God's teachings and a profound expression of love and compassion. It is a divine principle that, when practiced, brings healing, peace, and liberation to both the forgiver and the forgiven. While forgiving others can sometimes feel like a monumental challenge, it is an essential step toward achieving lasting happiness and spiritual growth. Forgiveness is not merely an act of letting go of resentment, but a transformative process that aligns us with God's grace and purpose. At its heart, forgiveness is a reflection of God's character. Throughout Scripture, God's willingness to forgive is a recurring theme. He extends His mercy to humanity time and again, offering redemption even in the face of repeated failures and mistakes. This divine forgiveness is not conditional on our perfection, but is a gift of grace given out of God's love. When we forgive others, we mirror this divine love, embodying the same mercy that God has shown us. It is a sacred act that allows us to participate in God's redemptive work in the world. Forgiveness liberates us from the heavy burden of anger, bitterness, and resentment. These emotions, while natural responses to being wronged, can quickly consume our thoughts and damage our well-being. Holding on to grudges is like carrying a weight that only grows heavier over time. It drains our energy, clouds our perspective, and hinders our ability to experience joy. By choosing to forgive, we release this burden and make space in our hearts for peace and healing. This act of release does not minimize the pain we have endured or excuse the wrongdoer's actions, but it frees us from being bound to the negativity of the past. Forgiveness also fosters emotional and spiritual healing. When we are hurt by others, it is easy to let the pain fester and influence how we view ourselves and the world around us. This can lead to feelings of bitterness, mistrust, and even a loss of hope. However, forgiveness acts as a balm for these wounds. It allows us to process the pain, understand it, and move forward without allowing it to define us. This healing is not just about the individual relationships involved, but also about restoring our relationship with ourselves and with God. It reconnects us to a sense of inner peace and purpose that is essential for a fulfilling life. Choosing to forgive is also an act of obedience to God. Jesus emphasized the importance of forgiveness in His teachings, instructing His followers to forgive others as God has forgiven them. The Lord's Prayer itself contains the plea, "Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us," highlighting the reciprocal nature of forgiveness in our spiritual journey. This principle underscores the idea that forgiveness is not optional, but an integral part of living a life aligned with God's will. In forgiving others, we demonstrate our trust in God's justice and His plan, relinquishing the need to seek revenge or harbor ill will. Forgiveness strengthens relationships and builds bridges where walls once stood. In any relationship, whether it is with family, friends, or colleagues, conflicts and misunderstandings are inevitable. Without forgiveness, these conflicts can lead to estrangement and broken connections. However, forgiveness creates an opportunity for reconciliation and growth. It allows both parties to acknowledge the hurt, take responsibility for their actions, and move forward together. This process not only mends relationships, but often deepens them, creating a bond that is stronger and more resilient than before. Forgiving others also opens the door to empathy and understanding. When we choose to forgive, we begin to see the humanity in those who have wronged us. We recognize their flaws, struggles, and need for grace just as we hope others will recognize ours. This perspective fosters a sense of compassion and humility, reminding us that we are all imperfect and in need of God's mercy. In this way, forgiveness is a powerful act of love that transcends the immediate situation and reflects God's greater purpose for humanity. Importantly, forgiveness is as much for the forgiver as it is for the forgiven. While it is natural to think of forgiveness as something we do for someone else, it is ultimately a gift we give ourselves. By letting go of resentment, we free ourselves from the control that the offense has over our lives. This freedom is a crucial aspect of happiness, as it allows us to live fully in the present, rather than being tethered to past hurts. Forgiveness empowers us to reclaim our joy and move forward with hope and purpose. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation. In some cases, the harm done may be so severe that rebuilding a relationship is not possible or safe. Forgiveness in these instances is still vital, as it is about releasing the emotional hold of the offense, rather than restoring the relationship. It is a personal act of grace that allows us to heal and move on, even if the relationship remains distant or severed. Forgiveness is an ongoing process rather than a one-time event. It often requires us to confront and release our anger and pain repeatedly, especially when the wounds run deep. This process can be difficult, but it is also deeply rewarding. Each step toward forgiveness brings us closer to the peace and joy that God desires for us. It is a journey of growth that strengthens our faith, deepens our understanding of God's grace, and transforms our hearts. In practicing forgiveness, we not only honor God's commandments, but also create a life that is free, peaceful, and aligned with His purpose. Forgiveness is a powerful force that heals wounds, restores relationships, and brings us closer to the heart of God. It is a gift that leads to profound happiness and spiritual fulfillment. Gratitude is a powerful practice that significantly influences our happiness and overall well-being. It is an essential principle in many spiritual teachings, particularly within the context of God's rules for living a fulfilling life. Gratitude shifts our perspective, enabling us to recognize the abundance in our lives rather than focusing solely on what we lack. This positive mindset not only deepens our connection with God, but also enhances our relationships with others and enriches our experiences of daily life. At its core, gratitude involves recognizing and appreciating the blessings we have received, whether they are big or small. When we cultivate an attitude of gratitude, we begin to notice the myriad of gifts that surround us daily: the love of family and friends, the beauty of nature, the simple pleasures of life, and the opportunities for growth and learning. This awareness fosters a sense of joy and contentment that transcends material possessions and external circumstances. It aligns us with God's abundant nature, reminding us that we are cared for and supported in our journey. Research has shown that practicing gratitude has profound psychological benefits. Studies indicate that individuals who regularly express gratitude experience lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. They also report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. By focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, we can counteract negative thought patterns and emotions that can otherwise dominate our mental landscape. Gratitude acts as a mental buffer, protecting us from the pitfalls of comparison and envy. Instead of fixating on what we do not have, gratitude shifts our attention to the richness of our current situation. In spiritual terms, gratitude is an acknowledgement of God's providence in our lives. It is a recognition that everything we have is a gift from Him. This perspective encourages humility, as we understand that our achievements, possessions, and relationships are not solely the result of our efforts, but are also shaped by divine grace. When we practice gratitude, we deepen our relationship with God, fostering a spirit of trust and reliance on His goodness. This connection brings a sense of peace and reassurance, knowing that we are part of a larger plan that transcends our understanding. Moreover, gratitude is not only a personal practice, but also an expression of our relationships with others. When we take the time to recognize the contributions of those around us, friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers, we strengthen our bonds and create a culture of appreciation. Expressing gratitude to others fosters a sense of connection and belonging, enhancing the quality of our relationships. It encourages positive interactions and creates an environment where love and kindness flourish. Gratitude helps us to see the good in others, allowing us to appreciate their efforts and contributions to our lives. Practicing gratitude also invites us to reflect on our challenges and difficulties. While it may seem counterintuitive, there is immense value in recognizing the lessons and growth that come from difficult experiences. When we can find something to be grateful for even in the midst of hardship, we transform our pain into a source of strength. This perspective enables us to view challenges as opportunities for growth, resilience, and deeper faith. It helps us to cultivate a mindset that sees beyond the immediate struggle, fostering a sense of hope and possibility for the future. One of the most effective ways to cultivate gratitude is through daily practices. Keeping a gratitude journal, for instance, encourages us to reflect on the positive aspects of our lives regularly. Writing down a few things we are grateful for each day helps to train our minds to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. This practice can be especially powerful during challenging times, as it serves as a reminder of the blessings that remain even in difficulty. Sharing our gratitude with others, whether through verbal acknowledgement or written notes, amplifies the positive effects, creating a ripple effect of appreciation and joy. Integrating gratitude into our prayers or spiritual practices deepens our connection with God. By expressing gratitude for His blessings, guidance, and presence in our lives, we cultivate a spirit of worship and reverence. This acknowledgement not only enhances our personal relationship with God, but also aligns our hearts with His will. It opens our minds to receive further blessings and fosters an attitude of expectancy and faith. We begin to see God's hand at work in our lives, prompting us to trust Him more fully and live in accordance with His purpose. Gratitude also encourages generosity. When we recognize the abundance in our lives, we are more inclined to share our blessings with others. This generosity can take many forms, offering our time, resources, or support to those in need. Acts of kindness that stem from a grateful heart not only benefit others, but also enrich our own lives. They reinforce the understanding that we are all interconnected, and our actions have the power to uplift and inspire those around us. By giving back, we cultivate a sense of purpose and fulfillment that enhances our overall happiness. In moments of difficulty or uncertainty, returning to gratitude can serve as a grounding practice. It allows us to regain perspective and refocus our thoughts on what truly matters. In these times, reflecting on past blessings can remind us of God's faithfulness and provision, bolstering our faith and encouraging resilience. Gratitude helps to anchor us, reminding us that we are never alone in our struggles and that God is always present, guiding us through every circumstance. Gratitude is a choice that we can make each day. It requires intentionality and practice, but the rewards are immeasurable. By fostering a grateful heart, we align ourselves with God's purpose, cultivate deeper connections with others, and enhance our overall happiness. Gratitude transforms our outlook on life, inviting us to live with joy, peace, and appreciation for the many blessings that surround us. As we embrace this principle, we reflect God's love and grace, becoming instruments of His joy in the world. Living with integrity is a foundational principle that is deeply embedded in the pursuit of happiness and aligns closely with God's rules for a fulfilling life. Integrity encompasses honesty, moral uprightness, and consistency in one's values and actions. It is about being true to oneself and upholding ethical standards, even when faced with challenges or temptations. This commitment to integrity not only builds a solid foundation for personal character, but also fosters trust and respect in our relationships with others, ultimately leading to a deeper sense of fulfillment and happiness. The importance of integrity begins with self-awareness. To live with integrity, we must first understand our values and beliefs. This self-reflection allows us to identify what is truly important to us and how we want to engage with the world. When we have a clear understanding of our core principles, we can make decisions that align with them, fostering a sense of coherence in our lives. This coherence is essential for our overall well-being, as it helps us to feel authentic and grounded in our actions. When our words and actions are in harmony with our beliefs, we experience a sense of peace and fulfillment that is vital for happiness. Moreover, integrity is closely tied to accountability. Living with integrity means taking responsibility for our actions, acknowledging our mistakes, and learning from them. This accountability builds character and resilience, as it requires us to confront our shortcomings and strive for improvement. When we embrace accountability, we demonstrate our commitment to personal growth and development, which can be incredibly empowering. This empowerment not only enhances our self-esteem, but also reinforces our relationships as others see us as trustworthy and dependable. By holding ourselves accountable, we create an environment where honesty and transparency thrive, leading to stronger connections with those around us. Integrity also fosters trust in our relationships, which is essential for a fulfilling life. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, be it with family, friends, colleagues, or community members. When we consistently act with integrity, we establish ourselves as reliable individuals who can be counted on to uphold our commitments and promises. This reliability cultivates an atmosphere of safety and respect, where individuals feel valued and understood. Conversely, when integrity is lacking, relationships can become strained and fraught with doubt. Trust can easily erode in the absence of integrity, leading to misunderstandings, resentment, and conflict. By prioritizing integrity in our interactions, we build the foundation for healthy and lasting relationships that contribute significantly to our happiness. Furthermore, living with integrity enhances our reputation and credibility. In both personal and professional spheres, people are drawn to those who demonstrate integrity. When we consistently act in accordance with our values, we gain the respect and admiration of others. This positive reputation opens doors to new opportunities and collaborations, enriching our lives in various ways. In a professional context, integrity is crucial for leaders who embody integrity, inspire their teams, foster loyalty, and encourage a culture of accountability. This not only enhances workplace morale, but also drives collective success, contributing to a sense of fulfillment for everyone involved. In addition to enhancing our relationships, integrity also plays a vital role in our mental and emotional well-being. When we act in alignment with our values, we experience less internal conflict and cognitive dissonance. This alignment reduces stress and anxiety, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and confidence. On the other hand, when we compromise our integrity, we may experience guilt, shame, or regret, which can weigh heavily on our hearts and minds. Living with integrity promotes a sense of peace, as we know we are making choices that reflect our true selves. This inner tranquility is essential for overall happiness and well-being, enabling us to approach life with a positive and open mindset. Another significant aspect of living with integrity is the impact it has on our decision-making processes. When faced with difficult choices, our commitment to integrity guides us toward ethical decisions that align with our values. This moral compass provides clarity in uncertain situations, helping us to navigate dilemmas with confidence. When we make choices that reflect our values, we not only enhance our own sense of fulfillment, but also contribute positively to the lives of others. Integrity-driven decisions have the potential to create ripples of positivity, influencing those around us and fostering a culture of ethical behavior and respect. Living with integrity also encourages a sense of purpose. When we are clear about our values and commit to living in accordance with them, we cultivate a life of intention and meaning. This sense of purpose fuels our passions and drives us to contribute to the greater good. Engaging in activities that align with our values, whether through volunteering, advocating for causes we believe in, or simply supporting those we care about, creates a profound sense of fulfillment. When our actions are guided by integrity, we are more likely to experience joy in our pursuits and feel a deeper connection to our communities and the world around us. In conclusion, living with integrity is essential for achieving true happiness and fulfillment. It involves aligning our actions with our values, fostering accountability, and building trust in our relationships. By prioritizing integrity, we cultivate self-awareness, enhance our mental well-being, and create meaningful connections with others. This commitment not only enriches our own lives, but also contributes positively to the lives of those around us. Ultimately, integrity serves as a guiding principle that leads us toward a more purposeful and joyful existence, reflecting the divine values that promote genuine happiness.